The French media always portrayed America as a cultural wasteland of processed food and zero history. But when French travelers actually visited, they faced a devastating reality check. They found breathtaking natural beauty, deeply rooted local traditions, and an overwhelming level of human warmth that simply does not exist back home.
You know why I feel so happy in the US? I can express myself in every aspect. The way I speak, the way I dress, the way I walk, even like in my business, in my project, in my creativity, I can just be me. And you know, like I went to the doctor and I have this diagnosis and I'm like, fuck this. And it's the consequences of what happens when you have to shrink, when you cannot express yourself, when you just have to check some boxes because you have to be that way or that way, and you cannot just be yourself, express yourself fully. When you feel that you're living in a cage, and this is what happens. I'm sorry, I love my country so much, but there's something that feels so off. 2 days ago, I was walking, and I had a shirt and I was not wearing bra because I don't need a bra and that's fucking it, and I don't need any justification. But people were just looking at me as if I was a problem, because that's the reality. When you walk here, people, they judge you. If you dare to dream too big or just to dream, it's not allowed. It's not allowed. You cannot really express yourself. And of course it exists also in the US. You have to check some boxes because in the end, it's the cutest, the skinniest and things like that. Like, I'm talking to women especially, who are going to win. But in the end, yes, in the US, I can breathe. I can breathe there. And I don't feel this competition as much, like with women, as much as I can feel it here in France. That's why I love the US so much, and I don't fucking care about what other things about the US. Because even myself, I was like full of cliche before moving to the US, but then I moved there and I fell in love there. It was never my dream, but damn, it changed me so much. It changed me so much, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful for everything that happened in my life that brought me there. Damn, I love the US so much.
En waar denk je aan bij Amerikanen?
Een gemeenschap wat onder een steen leeft, denk ik wel. Ze hebben heel erg hun eigen wereldje. En ik denk dat ze niet helemaal af en toe het idee hebben wat er in de buitenwereld speelt. Ik denk dat ze heel erg in zichzelf gekeerd zijn en zichzelf een beetje superieur vinden.
You know what I've noticed about Americans and French people? Okay. You know how they say, like, dogs and cats, the reason they don't get along is because the behaviors of dogs are seen as threatening or aggressive to cats, even if for the dog it's playful. Like, the dog, he thinks he's playing, and among other dogs it seems playful, but to a cat it seems aggressive, so the cat is in defense mode. That is what is happening between Americans and French people. Our cultures and the way that we are socialized to interact with other people are perceived negatively by the other person. Americans, we are socialized to be very warm and welcoming and almost like overly comfortable when we first meet people. We care a lot about being friendly, making someone feel like welcomed and whatever. And French people see this as being fake. They think we are being fake nice, and it comes across as suspicious or just insincere, and it rubs them the wrong way. Whereas French people are socialized to be a bit more reserved when they first meet people. They're not like an overly warm or friendly type. They will not like giggle with you and like pull you into a big embrace. Like, they're not gonna act like your best friend right away. It takes time for them to warm up, and Americans see that as them being uninterested, cold, like they just don't like us, and so we stop trying, and it just doesn't click. And it's just funny because neither side is trying to be malicious. Neither side is trying to be unfriendly. It's just how we naturally are, and they just don't go together very well. And I think that's why it's hard for Americans particularly to make friends with French people here. Yeah. Other reason it's hard for Americans to make friends with French people here, especially my generation, like Gen Z, and maybe a little bit into the millennials too, is that for us in the United States, smoking cigarettes is actually seen pretty poorly. Like, nobody in our age range really smokes cigarettes. They vape like crazy, but cigarettes, no. And everybody here smokes cigarettes, like everybody. And not only do they smoke cigarettes, they smoke them indoors. They smoke them in the car, they smoke them in their apartment, in their house. And it is like uncomfortable. Even if I love the group of people and they're so fun and like just I love being around them, being trapped in a small room full of cigarette smoke is unbearable. It's unbearable. And like going home smelling like cigarettes, it's stuck to my hair, it's stuck to my clothes. It's so gross. And I'm sorry, French people, but it is gross for me and for a lot of Americans my age. And it's hard to adapt to that. It's hard to be the only person in the group that doesn't smoke cigarettes and finds it off-putting. And like, that's another reason why it's hard. Anyway, just my 2 cents.
And
Where are you from?
I'm from Paris, France.
How long have you been in New York City?
2 years and a half.
How much do you spend every single month living in New York City, including everything?
Over $2,000.
How do you spend it?
$1,500 on rent, and then like utilities, maybe that's like $300. And you know, going out, shopping, food. Yeah.
Why is your English so good?
I went to like this school and they had like some kind of like section if you wanted to learn English. And yeah, that's what I did.
What about the accent?
Well, people say I sound like I'm from Jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Where's the French accent?
I don't know.
In 2 years?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
So how did you do that?
I went to summer camp in Jersey. Actually, I cheated. Yeah, true story. Fairview Lake, YMCA. Yeah.
What's your advice to everyone that's watching to learn English in 2 years like a native person from Jersey?
I say watch shows in English and force yourself to like make this extra effort and find people you can talk to, and that's how you learn.
As an American visiting Paris for the first time, I will say, as I'm walking through the streets, going for my walks, I'm just embarrassed. Like, I'm honestly just embarrassed. Like, I am so loudly American in every way possible. How I dress, how I look, how I talk, of course. I know the way that Parisians view Americans is very like, let's just say not the best way. As I'm walking through the streets, I just feel embarrassed just existing here. But I love it at the same time, and I wouldn't want it to be any other way. So I will continue to go for my walks and reach my 30,000 steps every single day here. And I know that because I track my steps on WeWord. I'm also collecting my We cards too, so add me on WeWord.
It's widely accepted that Americans are more woke than a majority of the other countries in the world, especially when compared to France, the country that I've called home for the last 6 years. But I didn't know how far back that wokeness went until lunch yesterday. So I'm at lunch with my best friend who happens to be French. We're talking about Agatha Christie books, and I had said how I just read And Then There Were None, and she told me that she had read, and I'm going to say it in French, but I won't say it in English, Dix Petites Nègres, which translates to 10 Little N-Words. And with the story fresh in my mind, I'm like, okay, this definitely is not the same book because there's no mention of a black person at all in the book that I read. But then as we're discussing the story, we come to find that it's exactly the same book with a slight difference. So I looked it up. The title, And Then There Were None, has always been the title in the US version of the book. But the UK version, when it first came out, was called 10 Little N-Words, and the nursery rhyme that's featured in the book was also that. The French version, it was the same, but the US version, even in the year 1939, 1940, they were like, absolutely not, so derogatory, we are changing the name, and we are changing the nursery rhyme inside the book to be Little Indians, which they considered less controversial at the time. Even that was changed eventually in the US to 10 Little Soldiers, which is what I read in my version. The UK took a couple decades to make these changes to their book. They changed the title and the nursery rhyme in 1985 is when they figured this is a bit not PC, maybe we should change the title. France, on the other hand, didn't change the title of the book or the nursery rhyme inside until 2020. 5 years ago, because they were just less pressed. They were like, oh, I don't really see what the issue is. I don't know. I found it so interesting that the US, I thought that maybe this would have been a later change. No, from when the book was initially published, they always had this title.
Paris is becoming sneaky because they started asking for tips. And I think that was especially designed for American tourists. We don't do 15, 20, 25% service charge in France. That is not part of the culture. At most, you would leave a couple of euros here and there as like an extra tip, but you never ever pay for service. I just went to Paris 2 times in the last 2 months, and I saw that whenever you want to pay, they hand you the little machine and they tell you the famous phrase, oh, it's just going to ask you a little question. Now, why do I think that this is specifically designed for Americans? Because just last week, I was having lunch at a cafe, and when it was time to pay, it was a different server who I hadn't interacted with who came to bring my bill with the little machine for me to pay by card. Now, I was wearing my LA hat, so he thought I was American. He didn't know I'm born and raised in France. And so he takes my card, charges me, and then he hands me the machine and he goes, yeah, it's just going to ask you a little question. And then I spoke French and he went, ah, t'es français? Oh, non, oublie, vas-y, mets zéro. Which means, oh, you're French. Oh, yeah, no, don't worry about it. Just put zero. And I was like, wow, I see what you're doing here. I think that there are so many tourists yearly in Paris that they're like, you know what? We're going to capitalize on that and let's try to make extra money.
Let's talk about things in France that the American mind just could never comprehend. Vacation. Vacation policy in France is like if you asked a 5th grader to create a policy and you said, okay, little guy, like be a little realistic. First of all, the government minimum is 5 weeks paid vacation throughout the year. And if you work certain jobs where you might have overtime, instead of getting paid for that overtime, you end up getting 2 extra weeks of paid vacation a year. But then the French take it one step further and they say, we're not just going to give you paid vacation, we're actually going to pay you to take vacation. Every spring they do something called a prime vacances, which is like a vacation bonus. So literally last month I got about 500 euros more in my paycheck than I usually do, and I thought it was just my quarterly bonus, but no, it was my prime vacances. And maybe you think you're extra American like me and you're like, I would never find the time to take vacation, blah, blah, blah. Well, they mandate it. Pretty sure it's from June to October, you legally have to take 2 consecutive weeks off. This is what is literally mind-boggling as an American, because not only do they give you the vacation, they pay you for the vacation, and then they say legally you have to take it. Meanwhile, in the US, I feel like it's always just who wants to fight over who gets 4th of July weekend off.
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I hate having a French audience on this app because every time I say something even like remotely positive, you guys are like, actually, no. Like, oh my God, this is the easiest country to rage bait, I swear to God. I feel like that's why I got my success so fast, is because you guys are so quick to anger, so quick to comment on something. I posted my apartment criteria. It's like really fucking basic. I'm like, natural light. I want a fucking window. Under 1,000 euros, safety, and a decent smell. And you guys are like, that's impossible with this budget. Actually, not in Paris. You are not gonna find that. Haha, good fucking luck. This is why nothing works out for you, babes. You guys have the most pessimistic mindset. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't find what you wanted because you guys have no faith in things working out for you. I am like the most abundant person I know. I always get the best opportunities. Things always work out for me. And I'm gonna keep this optimism, but damn is it hard in a French society because y'all are quick to push someone's down. How dare you dream? How dare you think things are gonna work out for you? They inevitably won't. Yeah, with that mindset.
I'm a French person in America for the World Cup, and here are some things I have found absolutely crazy about the United States. Number 1, there are actually nice people in America. People have been very kind to me and very helpful, and I didn't know that America had nice people. Number 2, there aren't any guns. I walk around the street and it is perfectly safe. I thought people would be dying in the street like there was a civil war, but no, I haven't seen one gun. Except I go to the shooting range and I shoot one myself and it's very fun. Number 3, there's actually good food. I would not have guessed that in a country with almost 400 million people, that there could actually be a meal that was worth trying. Who knew that outside of France that they had good food? Not me.
As an American who left the US 5 years ago, my brain is still trying to adapt to certain things about life in Europe, life in France, that feels so wrong because of the way America is so brutal to its people. In addition to the public healthcare system here being absolutely amazing, with my work, we also pay for something called a mutual, which is just like private insurance. And guess what? It is an extra 30 euros a month. With that, not only do we get vision, including contact lenses, glasses, dental, even mental health stuff, like you can get a certain amount of therapy sessions completely free. Sex health, nutrition, extra postpartum care, 30 euros a month. This summer, I started having an ongoing health issue that caused me to go to about 20 different appointments for various specialists, had to get blood work done, MRIs, you name it, all kinds of tests. After months of dealing with this, my total out-of-pocket cost, so the cost that was not covered by the public health insurance and my private, was about 300 euros. When I tell you that I was going to specialists, I mean some world-renowned, like, private institutes. I've had videos go viral where I have talked about healthcare in Europe versus the US, and my comment section inevitably gets flooded by people whose sole argument is that healthcare is not a human right and that I'm paying a lot of taxes for it. Guess what? I don't care. I would always rather my tax money go towards helping myself, the people I care about, my neighbors, my community, and just humankind in general than lining the pockets of billionaires and funding wars. My health issue still is ongoing, and I recently found out that I'm probably going to have to get surgery for it. As an American, my first thought was, oh no, I can't take weeks off of work. I don't want to have to pay tens of thousands of dollars. Like, my brain still does not understand the fact that that's not how it works here. When I mentioned to my boss that I might have to do this, her first response was, I'm so sorry, whatever you need, what can we do to help you? I'm here for you. I genuinely have been putting off taking the next steps for this because in my mind, I still am like waiting for the other shoe to drop. I can't comprehend the fact that I'm protected here, that even if I have to take weeks off of work for medical leave, that I won't be penalized for it, that I can't be penalized for it, and that I also won't go into debt. My heart genuinely breaks for all of the Americans who are in the opposite situation, because no one should have to go into debt or not be able to get the medical care that they need to survive or just to live comfortably.
Xenophobia that Americans experience here in France. That creator said that she was hesitant to talk about this because she's white and she's blonde. So I'm gonna tell you about my experience with xenophobia in France as somebody who's not white and who's not blonde. There's just some words I automatically say in English or I automatically say in Spanish. So if I walk in somewhere, I automatically say hi. If I can't hear somebody or somebody calls my name, I always say mande. The difference in treatment between when I spoke English and people from France knew that I was American versus the treatment I got whenever I spoke Spanish was substantial. I am confirming for you that I was treated worse when they knew I was American and not treated as badly when they thought I was non-American. The hotel staff member told another guest who was from Spain, hold on, I had to help these dumb Americans. And then I was like, ¿por qué dices eso? We were just existing, waiting for him to process our passport information so we could get into the room. Nothing that we did was obnoxious or loud for us to be called dumb Americans. That staffer just pretended I did not speak Spanish and was just like, oh, just give me a minute. Start speaking to me in English as if I didn't catch him talking bad about me. I already made a video about how France has systematic xenophobia and they basically charge as a tax to Americans. I'll go ahead and link that video if y'all want to see it. But I definitely validate this creator and her feelings and her experience.
Why do the French hate Americans? I've heard that for years and I never believed it until today. We went to a restaurant up near...
It was at Omaha Beach in Normandy.
And
very big tourism location.
Yeah, so this place, I'm sure they get a lot of Americans in there. Well, we came in there and they seated us and ignored us for a while. They served people that came in after us. I never got a menu.
The women there were just not nice.
Not at all. No matter how much we killed them with kindness, they were not kind to us. But they were kind to all the other tables around us.
Yeah, there was a table that got served before us, that they got seated 5 minutes after us.
Yeah, wouldn't even give me a menu.
They got menus before us.
Yeah.
They were French.
All of them were.
Or at least they were speaking French.
Yeah.
We don't know any French, so maybe that's a reason why they don't like us.
I don't know. Oh, they tried a little bit.
Yeah,
but still. Yeah. But man, they did not like us at all.
You would think a very tourism location.
Yeah.
They had multiple country flags out in the front of the restaurant.
Yeah, so we thought it would be very warm and welcoming, but not at all.
And we don't go there like, hey, I need this. Like,
No.
it's just, we're not demanding Americans. Like,
not at all.
It just wasn't a friendly experience. Everybody else seemed to.
They were so friendly to all the French people around us, but not to us. So, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of eye-opening, a little shocking.
Especially in such a tourism
Area.
heavy area.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke a little French. Ours is definitely nothing good at all, trust me, but we tried. And we killed them with kindness. No matter how many times we were so kind to them, they were still very rude. Yeah. Very, So I was very surprised. So.
Why do the French hate Americans?
Yeah. Like I said, we've heard it for years from so many people, never believed it, but now we finally experienced it, so something must be going on.
Do they not remember 1944? Say, everybody else in France has been
absolutely lovely.
Decently lovely.
Yeah.
But that was our only bad experience, and it kind of left a mark.
The American mindset is very much goal-oriented. In everything that we do, it is always goal, plan, action. And for the longest time, I thought this was pretty universal. I was like, yeah, that's how you achieve success. Hard work, determination, consistency, setting your mind to something. But the other day, my French host mom was like, we were watching the tennis match with Coco Gauff at Roland Garros, and Coco had answers to all of the press releases. And she was like, yeah, I come in here and I fight and I win, and this is what I came for, blah, blah, blah. And my host mom was like, oh, you Americans, like, you're so goal, achieve. And I was like, a little bit taken back, because I'm like, is this not how everyone else thinks? But then I did some reflecting over the week, and I was like, yeah, I guess at a young age we did learn about SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, I forget what the R stands for, reward, timely. So we're always working towards something. And I'm like, what is it that has made us this way? And I think like the American dream is always promoting like the harder you work, the more you will achieve. The more success you'll have, the happier you'll be. That's like the mindset, right? And I'm having trouble not having this mindset. I mean, I know it's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, I'm very determined. I love achieving my goals. Like, I think it does bring a lot of purpose and happiness to my life. But I'm trying to think of like the inverse, or a culture where they don't promote this. And that is where my Americanism comes in. Like, I very much am still that type of girl, and I love it, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, how do they go around this topic of success in other cultures? I'm curious.
America, all you needed was a chance. One shot to prove to the world that you are not what the news and the media portray you as. That you have this culture, this scenery, the people are amazing. During this World Cup, people have flown to America and they're seeing America through their own eyes, through their own experiences, forming their own opinions, and they're realizing how amazing America really is. It must feel good being American, going through all these years of torment and people bashing you here, there and everywhere. And now you get to sit back and see that people get to experience your country through their own eyes and tell you how amazing and beautiful it actually is. You was given that chance, and now you are receiving the flowers that you truly deserve. I've traveled America now for many years. I've made thousands of videos saying how much I love America, and now the rest of the world is finally seeing it. America, you deserve it. You deserve all the love and recognition you are now receiving. It's been a long time coming, but you deserve it.